Are the riots and protests in Baltimore a symptom of a much bigger problem than alleged police abuse? What is happening in poor and disadvantaged inner-city communities across America? I'm Arnold Naidu, and this is The Heat. For days now, armed troops have been on patrol in parts of Baltimore, one of America's biggest cities. They are trying to keep the peace after riots and protests this week following the death of a black man who died while in police custody. The story is also focusing attention on conditions in other poor and disadvantaged communities across the United States. We begin with CCTV reporter Roee Ruttenberg, who is covering developments in Baltimore. And Roee, we heard today that 6 policemen have been charged in the death of Freddie Gray. It was his death that led to all these protests in Baltimore. What's the latest from there?
Indeed, and the announcement by the Baltimore state prosecutor, the 35-year-old Marilyn Mosby, surprised many people. She received the investigation from police just 24 hours earlier, and many thought her press conference on Friday would basically involve her announcing that she's either continuing the investigation, expanding the investigation, perhaps taking it to a grand jury. But no, Marilyn Mosby announced that she would indeed charge and prosecute those 6 police officers, one of them for second-degree murder and manslaughter. Some of these charges hold a potential prison time of 30 years, so a very serious charge. This can, of course, take a long time. If there is indeed a trial before a jury or a judge, the prosecution would have to convince those people that the officers were guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's not entirely easy to do, but in order to press charges, she has to be convinced that she does indeed have enough evidence to do so. Naturally, many people were surprised, as I said, by the announcement, but the hope was that it would diffuse some of the tension that we've seen in recent days, some of the violence in various parts of West Baltimore, of course, following the death of Freddie Gray, and many people chanting no justice, no peace over the recent days, now feeling that some of that justice is on the way.
Well, Roee, as you say, there is the hope that it will calm the situation in Baltimore. What is the mood in the city tonight?
A very different mood on Friday evening from what it was just 24 hours earlier or in the last 2 weeks. What was a protest march in some sense has turned into a victory parade. We saw hundreds of cars driving by, honking their horns, people sitting out on the edge of the car, chanting, putting their arms up in the air in a fist. We've had a number of helicopters flying above over this march. Many people saying this is just the beginning, but that this is a sign of victory for them. A lot of people saying that in the past the justice system has not worked in their favor, and of course they want to see these officers go to jail. The union representing the police, as well as a lawyer for the police, say the officers are not guilty and that they are launching their own investigation that will prove as much. But we heard from the family of Freddie Gray saying that they are relieved that this decision has been made. I've also spoken to a U.S. congressman representing Baltimore who said it was the right decision. We've also had the U.S. President Barack Obama chiming in saying that this is the right path towards justice.
Thanks, Roee. That's CCTV's Roee Ruttenberg reporting from Baltimore.